What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pokeblock Podcast. As always, I am your host, Hoops and Hip Hop, and today we're going to be talking about some really cool Pokemon stuff, because there's just always something interesting to talk about in the world of Pokemon, and that's pretty much our motto. I'm always like, yeah, we got something interesting for you today, but it's true because we do. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. This is something that I have sort of touched on lightly throughout other podcast episodes and videos, and I've just sort of brought it up every now and then, but it's kind of funny to me because I seem to be the only one that has talked about it. I've genuinely not heard anyone else talk about or mention at all the 25th anniversary for the Pokemon franchise, even though it's next year. And the 25th anniversary for anything is basically your golden anniversary. I mean, 50 is technically your golden anniversary, but as far as video games go, 25th is like the golden anniversary, since video games haven't really been around long enough to have 50-year anniversaries. So obviously, something huge is going to happen, and the fact that we're like a half year away from that, I think is cause to kind of have a discussion about it and talk about it, especially because of the way things were handled with the 20th anniversary. That was crazy to think that that was literally 5 years ago. I can still remember the day that I walked into class and I found out about the Pokemon Sun and Moon leak, where the trademarks had been leaked and they had the logos attached to them. I remember that as plain as day. I can so distinctly remember that. I remember watching the trailer for the first time. I remember Pokemon Go and what happened with that. It's crazy that was 5 years ago. But with that being said, I'm going to talk about the 25th anniversary, what I expect to happen for the anniversary, what I would like to see, and just get into that because it's something that's really exciting to look forward to that's not that far away. So that's what we're talking about today. Before we get into it though, we obviously have got to thank the people who make this possible, and that would be our sponsors. So without any further ado, today's episode is brought to you by the Tax Defense Group. Due to the global pandemic, the deadline to file your taxes for 2019 was pushed back to July 15th, 2020. If you haven't filed for 2019 yet, there's good news. The Tax Defense Group can e-file your taxes for you. The process is quick, and for millions of people, you will get money back. So what are you waiting for? Call the Tax Defense Group today at 800-850-7973 to get started. That number again is 800-850-7973, and you can visit them online at thetaxdefensegroup.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Writer Junkie. Are you thinking about starting a business or a side hustle? For all businesses to be successful, you need to have a website. Writer Junkie offers website development, content writing, and SEO services for business websites. So call Writer Junkie today at 805-587-7966, and you can visit them online at writerjunkie.com. So, 25th anniversary. As I said, it's next year. It's at this point less than 6 months away, and that is pretty crazy. Like, it's going to be here, honestly, before we know it, and especially with Pokemon's birthday being in February, a very early part of the year, we can expect to see some big announcement of some kind fairly quickly, like right away, as soon as we hit 2021. And the reason why I know next year is going to be such a huge year for Pokemon, I mean, it's pretty obvious because once again, it's the 25th anniversary, and a 25th anniversary for anything is a really big deal. As far as the video game world goes, it's basically your golden anniversary because video games haven't been around long enough to have a 50th anniversary, which is typically your golden anniversary. But so 25, which is like the silver everywhere else, is the gold for video games, since video games are still pretty young. But overall, it's a big deal. Every time a video game franchise hits their 25th anniversary, they do a ton of crazy stuff. We had one for Zelda several years ago. They did a big thing. I know Mario did something for its 30th anniversary, and I wasn't following it back in the day, but I know they did something for their 25th anniversary as well. So it's a thing that, like, basically is for sure going to be celebrated, especially when it comes to Pokemon. Obviously such a huge franchise, biggest media franchise in the world, just even outside of video games. So this is going to be celebrated, and it's going to be celebrated in a big way. Not only can you just say that for certain just based on the fact that it is the 25th anniversary, but if we look at what they did for the 25th or the 20th anniversary just 5 years ago, that really tells you all you need to know about what we can sort of expect for this year, because the 20th anniversary, while big, isn't as big of a deal as 25. And we got, during the 20th anniversary, Pokemon Sun and Moon, we got Pokemon Go, we got, let's see, they freaking did a Super Bowl commercial, which I think was, if I'm not mistaken, that was just specifically for just Pokemon in general. Like, part of me wants to say it was like advertisement for Pokemon Go, but I don't think that's the case. I think it was just like literally like, we want to do a Super Bowl commercial, so they did one, and it was like because it was the 20th anniversary. So they did a freaking Super Bowl commercial. We got Pokemon Generations, which was the amazing short animated series similar to Twilight Wings that's going on right now, that happened all throughout the year. It was like 2 episodes every 2 weeks or something like that, or an episode every 2 weeks. Phenomenal. I'm still waiting on that full series version of something like that. We got special merchandise all throughout the year. There were like plushies that were released every month. It was just like a year-long party the whole time that culminated in the release of the new generation at the time, Pokemon Sun and Moon. And so with the 20th anniversary, just with them going all out in celebration for that, I have no doubt that the 25th anniversary is going to be just the same, if not bigger. I would maybe even say bigger, just because, like I said, 25th anniversary is bigger than the 20th anniversary, just because obviously it's a longer amount of time, and it's one that's more so seen as your golden anniversary, quote unquote. But as far as like what are they going to do specifically? We can say with virtual certainty that it's going to be big and a lot of stuff is going to happen, but what specifically are they going to do? And that's kind of where our speculation comes in here, and that's where the big part of this discussion is going to lie, because trying to think about all the different things they could do is really exciting. It really is. I imagine they will probably do, just on the smaller side of things first, I imagine they'll probably do things similar to what they did for 2016 for the 20th anniversary, as far as merchandise coming out and just special things like that. I really enjoyed during the 20th anniversary collecting all of the 20th anniversary plushes. You might have seen in some of my videos on my own YouTube channel in the background. I have a bunch of them. I have 7 of them. Yeah, I've got 7 of them. Didn't get all of them because they were hard to track down. They were like, some of them were like retailer exclusive, and you could only get them for the 1 month, and then they were gone. So didn't end up getting all of them, but I got a good crop, and I would love for them to do something like that again next year, because it was just a lot of fun to hunt them down and collect them, and hopefully they do something like that. Another thing they did that I did not mention a few minutes ago when I was rounding off all the things they did were virtual console re-releases of Red, Blue, and Yellow, along with a special edition 3DS for Red and Blue, which I do also have, actually. So I could very much see them doing, I mean, we don't have a virtual console for the Switch, but we do have Nintendo Switch Online, so I could very well see them releasing some Pokemon game. I don't know if it would be Ruby and Sapphire, just because we haven't even remotely touched Game Boy Advance games on the Nintendo Switch Online yet. That would be the way for them to go, just because we had Gen 1 and Gen 2 already on the Virtual Console, so continuing with Gen 3 would only make sense. But because of how Nintendo Switch Online is structured versus the Virtual Console, I could see them going to like 64 games, since currently we've got NES and Super Nintendo, and they could possibly release Pokemon Stadium, or the original Pokemon Snap would be cool. like in preparation for the remakes. I don't think they would do that, but obviously it's just another game they could offer. You have Hey You Pikachu would probably be impossible, but that would be hilarious at the same time. So I could see them releasing some old classic Pokemon games via Nintendo Switch Online. That is another thing for sure I could see. There's most likely going to be events all throughout the year for Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go itself will be celebrating its 5-year anniversary on top of Pokemon just celebrating its 25th, because, like I said, it came out in 2016. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do something for that, and for the fact that it's the 25th anniversary. So you can expect a lot of crazy, awesome stuff in Pokemon Go. I really hope that they do a sort of animated series thing of some kind, like we saw with Pokemon Generations. It's hard to say if they will, just because we have Twilight Wings going on right now. So are they really going to do another one next year too? I would certainly hope so. It would be awesome, but it's kind of hard to say. That one's kind of a wild card in terms of things from the 20th anniversary that could potentially happen again in the 25th anniversary, especially because, like, for the 25th anniversary, you're celebrating kind of the whole of Pokemon, like the history, everything that brought you here. So in terms of a show that could reflect that, it was kind of already done with Generations. So it's like you can't really do that again. You could factor in Generations 7 and 8, but it would be kind of hard to sort of do that same thing again. Although they could do a number of different things. And because they're short series, they're definitely obviously not as hard to produce, or they don't take as long. So I would certainly love to see that again, especially because Twilight Wings, excuse me, the name escaped me there for a second. The final episode of that is coming next month, and then that's done. So it's going to be done by August. So it would be really cool to have another short little mini-series to look forward to, because I look forward to Generations. I look forward to Twilight Wings. I even looked forward to Origins back in the day, way back in the day. So it would be awesome to have another series like that. And then, jumping up a little bit, getting into some of the games, there is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to be a big release, as in like a main series game. We will get into that a little bit later. However, I think you can also definitely expect to see some smaller releases as well. I think Pokemon Snap is definitely, given the fact that it was revealed shortly, like just a short time ago, in the middle of the year this year. They did not provide a specific release date or anything like that, but given that it was released right now in this time frame, and we've got the 25th anniversary next year, I fully expect Pokemon Snap to come out in 2021 at some point for the 25th anniversary, and I'm pretty sure that that is being made specifically for the 25th anniversary. Like, I think that is one of their 25th anniversary plans, because it's it's not a remake, it's a new sequel to a game that everyone has wanted a sequel for forever. So it's the kind of thing that you do for an anniversary. So I fully expect that to be a big part of the 25th anniversary. I'm pretty sure that's like one of the things they specifically have planned for the 25th. So that's like the first little thing that we are seeing from their plan that is sort of like becoming a thing, even though they haven't like obviously said, they haven't like mentioned anything about the 25th anniversary specifically yet, because we're not quite there. Another thing that is definitely going to happen in terms of games, well, I won't say definitely, but I could very much see it happening for the 25th, is the sequel to Detective Pikachu. It was about, I believe it was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, because if I'm not mistaken, it was during the announcement where they announced Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, where this was also talked about. But they, a while ago, whenever it happened to be, the announcement of a sequel game to Detective Pikachu was officially made, and the game was stated to be coming to Nintendo Switch, and that was basically it. It was a very informal sort of announcement that was made at the time. It was basically just, I believe it was Ishihara. He said, hey, we've got a Detective Pikachu game coming to the Switch, and it's going to be a sequel. It's going to be Detective Pikachu 2. And they didn't show any trailer footage or gameplay or anything. It was literally just him in front of the camera saying there's going to be a Detective Pikachu 2 coming to Switch, and that's it. And that is the only thing we've heard about. That's the only thing that we've heard about in terms of that game up to this point. So given the fact that it's been 2 years since then, by the time we reach 2021, it'll have been 2.5. I think it's about time for that game to, at the very least, see some attention and see a trailer or something come to light that we can actually look at. And just given the fact that the 25th anniversary is next year, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming, I could very much see that happening as well. Just because it's gonna be a big year. Usually in any given year, a spin-off game for Pokemon and then like a main series game in the same year, that would be a lot. That would be a pretty like chock full year in terms of like actual video games, especially on the same system. But with the 25th anniversary, obviously that's going to be, the stakes are going to be raised a little bit. Like there's going to be a little more going on. And given the fact that Detective Pikachu and Pokemon Snap, they are completely different types of games, plus Detective Pikachu is sort of its own brand now at the same time. I wouldn't say I fully expect, but I fully believe that could be released in 2021 as well, with everything else that's like a no-brainer, like a main series game and Pokemon Snap, and it could coexist perfectly fine. So that is something that I think is at least decently likely for the 25th anniversary. And if I had to say, I would probably say that those are the games we can expect. Pokemon Snap, Detective Pikachu 2, and then the main series game that will come out later in the year towards like the holiday season. I think that actually makes a lot of sense, having 3 games, so you have sort of a like a 3-point system throughout the year for game releases, where maybe Pokemon Snap comes out, I could very much see that as the early summer game. Nintendo seems to always have a game that they release right around May-ish that sort of kicks off the summer season. Pokemon Snap, especially with like the scenes we saw in the trailer of the islands and stuff, that would be perfect. And I'm gonna go ahead and make that my official prediction. You heard it right now, July 10th, 2020. Pokemon Snap is going to be coming out May-ish 2021. Early summer 2021 is when I expect Pokemon Snap to come out, and I'm confident enough to like say that's my official prediction, because I think that's pretty decently likely that could happen. And then Detective Pikachu 2, I think, will be the second point. It's kind of hard to place, because if they're going to release 3 games next year on the Switch and have them sort of spaced out throughout the year, I could see Detective Pikachu either coming out early in the year, maybe like February, maybe it kicks things off with Pokemon's actual birthday and that comes out like February, maybe even January-ish, like that's possible, or it would come out after Pokemon Snap in May and release around the August-September timeframe, just to give enough of a buffer after its release for the main series game that would come out in November. If I was running the show, I would probably release it in January or February, just so there wasn't too much going on around the time of the main series game, so it could have all the spotlight and nothing would get overshadowed. That's what I would do. So if I'm making a prediction on this, then I'm probably going to say that Detective Pikachu comes out somewhere in the time frame of January to March. Most likely January or February. Because I'm pretty confident, I genuinely am pretty confident in that Pokemon Snap prediction, so I'm going to formulate the rest of my predictions around that and say that Detective Pikachu comes out January or February of next year. And then finally, as the final point to that 3-point plan, we have the main series game, the big main series game that's going to be the culmination and the big just final act, if you will, of the celebration for the year. Very similar to the way we saw in the 20th anniversary with Pokemon Sun and Moon. Everything culminated with Pokemon Sun and Moon's release. It was a new main series game, kicked off a new generation. That is what everything was leading towards. And we're definitely going to have something like that this year as well. And if I had to guess what I think it's going to be, I would say it has to be Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Remakes. Because, I mean, the games that are most likely to happen right now anyway, like in terms of new games, are either Diamond and Pearl Remakes or Let's Go Johto, because just with the way the timeline is working right now, those would be the two games that are most likely slated to come out right now, because you can't have a new generation come out in 2021, because that would only be 2 years after Sword and Shield released in 2019. And it's kind of crazy to think about that. I mean, obviously, end of 2021, that's still a year and a half away, so it's a long time away. But the fact that we can reasonably forecast up to a point that would have Sword and Shield be like 2 years in the rearview mirror, and it would be 2 years ago that game came out. That's crazy to me. Like, time just flies so fast. But it couldn't be, with that said, it couldn't be a brand new generation that came out at the end of next year for this game, because that would only be 2 years after Sword and Shield. And generations almost always have a 3-year time span. You had from 2016 to 2019 was Gen 7 to 8, you had 2013 to 2016, that was Gen 6 to 7, and so on. It's like almost universally between every generation there's 3 years. That's the way they've always done it. So I don't expect them to not do that this time around and release something sooner than that. That would be very, very unlikely, and it just wouldn't make sense, because it wouldn't really give them time to do everything that they have the chance to do with Generation 8. So I don't think that is quite like on the horizon yet in terms of end of 2021 for the 25th anniversary. As far as our second option with Let's Go Johto, it definitely is within the time frame to happen, because it's been, at the end of this year, it will have been 2 years since the release of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. By the end of next year, it will be 3 years, so that definitely could happen. However, it's hard to say whether or not another Let's Go game is going to happen or not. Everyone kind of expects it to happen, and I think it will happen at some point just because of how popular Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were. So, and Junichi Masuda even said himself during the time the games were coming out that if they were popular enough, like, they would be opening to making more. And so the fact that they were insanely popular, like, they're in the top 10 best-selling games for the Switch, I think it's eventually going to happen. It's just a matter of where does it fit in the calendar with everything else that's going on. Plus, it's like, for the 25th anniversary, like, yeah, I would love Let's Go Johto. I've been on the record saying I love the Let's Go games. They're beautiful. I really want to see Johto in that style. I would love a Let's Go Johto game whenever it came out. But in terms of the 25th anniversary and this game, whatever it is, being the culmination of that entire celebration, I really don't think Let's Go Johto lives up to that. Just because it doesn't really, like, Let's Go Johto is a big deal, but it's not like 25th anniversary of Pokemon big deal. So I think that is going to be the main factor that causes Let's Go Johto, if that game is even happening anyway, to be held off until further notice at some point. Who knows when it'll come out, but I just don't think it quite fits that time frame, just because of the hype that this game, whatever it would be, would have to live up to, given that this is the 25th anniversary. And so that leaves only one other candidate that could reasonably be released within this time frame and make sense, and also live up to the hype that is the 25th anniversary. And you guessed it, that would be Diamond and Pearl Remakes. If there was ever a time when Diamond and Pearl Remakes made sense to come out and would be the perfect opportunity, this is the time. Because everyone has been wanting Diamond and Pearl Remakes for years now. Pretty much since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire released, we shifted our focus to Diamond and Pearl Remakes. It's been 6 years since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out, so we've been waiting for over half a decade at this point. Not only that, but it's also, in addition to the 25th anniversary for Pokemon, the 15th anniversary of Diamond and Pearl releasing in 2021. So you could not only celebrate Pokemon's anniversary, but you could also celebrate Diamond and Pearl's anniversary at the same time. Especially because Diamond and Pearl, one of their major themes is time, and an anniversary is all about the amount of time that's passed since something began. So it fits so perfectly. It's not even funny. And it's absolutely something that could live up to the hype, as I mentioned. It really fits the whole generational time frame with us getting games in 2019 to kick off Generation 8. We got follow-up games, quote-unquote, that... I mean, they are follow-up games. Well, they are and they're not with the expansions. The expansions are technically taking the place of follow-up games. That was stated by Masuda. So we're getting those this year, and then next year we would get Diamond and Pearl Remakes, and that would sort of be the next major release. And then the next year after that, in 2022, that would be 3 years, so that would start a new generation at that point. So it fits the timeline really well, and overall it makes the most sense. If they did not release Diamond and Pearl Remakes in 2021, I would be massively shocked. I am beyond convinced that is what's happening, because it makes too much sense from every angle for it not to happen. And as I said, it's like, I mean, technically we don't even know for sure if they're being developed, because we've had no confirmation, obviously. It's just a hope. But at the same time, we kind of do know that something's going on, because the Pokemon Company themselves have sort of teased people, saying like Sinnoh confirmed in like several of their social media posts. So we know that something's going on. And it... like, the time is basically now. It would be genuinely a shock if it didn't happen this way. Like, as confident as I was about the Pokemon Snap prediction, I am even more confident about this prediction, because it makes too much sense not to happen. And with like the absolute certainty that we're gonna get a main series game next year, just because of the scenario of it being a big anniversary, what better game to celebrate that anniversary than Diamond and Pearl Remakes? There isn't a game out there besides a new generation, like a new region type game like Sword and Shield, that would be perfect to celebrate that kind of anniversary. And we know that's not coming, so Diamond and Pearl Remakes has got to be what it is. So that's what I'm banking on for the 25th anniversary. It's going to culminate in Diamond and Pearl Remakes. We're going to have Pokemon Snap released in May of that year. Detective Pikachu 2 is also going to come out. A bunch of other crap is going to happen. It's going to be awesome, and I am really, really excited for it. But with that said, that's basically all the time we have for this episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like and a follow wherever you listen. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have any other predictions. And be sure to check out my own channel, Hoops and Hip Hop, as well, if you're not already subscribed, for more Pokemon content. With that said, I'll be back next Friday with another episode, as always. It's going to be a ton of fun, as always. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have a great week. And until the next one, as always, I love you guys, and I will smell you guys later.